Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the build series. This is going to be video number 2 on the official pretty much kickoff on the build side of this. So I've learned over a course of building some of these. You know, you may not think it's appropriate or necessary, but I have found it has been an issue lately. Wash the parts, all these parts. Just take them in just to mild water. So what I do is I just take a container like this. I'll just throw some soapy water in there, some warm water, and I'll fill this up, and we'll take it in and wash it and bring it back, and we can start assembling it. Last few times I've been putting models together, I'm getting fisheye and all kinds of odd stuff going on onto the paint because there is a little oil residue on there. So we're going to get this washed up first off, and we're going to come back and get this Pontiac put together. So while I'm going in the house to get this washed, let's do some trivia time. The 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge was equipped with a Ram Air 3 Pontiac 400. What was the advertised horsepower rating? Was it A, 352, B, 361, C, 366, or was it D, 376 horsepower? Answer's coming up soon, so let's get back to the build. Okay guys, so we are back getting it washed up. So we got everything good to go. So another reason I like to put these in here, so just in case you are washing them and I'll just like say, I'll do is just fill this up. I'll put some little soap in here, just soap, and I'll fill it up, and I'll just take these out one at a time and just shake them and take them out and then rinse them and set them aside. But the nice thing is if I'm doing this and a part falls off, I don't have to worry about it going down the drain. It stays in this container. So that's the other reason I like to use this. Like I say, these are pretty inexpensive, just cheap. They come in a 3-pack, I believe, so cool deal. So like I say, at this point we're going to get the engine disassembled, or I should say off the trees, so we can start assembling it. How about that? A lot of these parts need to dry yet, so the interior I'm not worried about, because that's going to be later in life. So we're mainly just worried about the cylinder heads, which are these guys, and pretty much these components here. I don't care about the master cylinder right now, but we will take those guys. So this can sit off to the side to dry. I did notice I did wash the spoiler, which no big deal. It will get washed once again. So we have our belt set up. Of course, our engine block, the main attraction here. Just cut it here and here. And let's see, we have our looks like for the steering, we got our fan, obviously. I'm going to leave a little bit of that on there. We got our top of our battery, we have our alternator. It's going to clip him tight, and we got our belt, which we're going to clip him tight as well. And that'll be it for engine assembly. Check this tree just to make sure. Okay, so when I was in there also, remember in the first video, the frame had some warpage to it. This had a pretty good bend through here, so while I had it in the warm water, I was able just to hold it nice just for a little bit, and that straightened that frame out pretty nice. So that's good to go. Should be good to go anyways. So we can cut this guy off here. This is foam basically in real life, and then an air cleaner top, and this was gloss black. Okay, and I believe there's a decal for that. All right, we'll get these cleaned up with a little bit of knife action, and we'll start gluing some of the stuff together. Please hold. All right guys, we got everything all cut up, ready to go, ready for action. So we are getting the instructions out. Yes, we're getting the instructions out. Just because I'm showing you guys what we're doing. So I like to skip around. I always like to put the engine together first. And like I say, this is kind of a basic kit. There's not a lot to it. So it's pretty easy just to jump around and do whatever, because we can. So we're going to start with Mr. Engine, and that is in section number 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. Of course, we install it. So there you have it. So we are using Tamiya Thin. This is kind of my to-go-to cement. Very flammable, very harmful. Don't drink it, that kind of stuff. The nice thing is you don't have to, it doesn't need a lot. There's a little water in there, yep, that's okay, we'll seal her up. A little on the inside, down the seam. We should be good. I like to use these little clips. We'll clip it together and that'll hold it nicely. And we'll let that set for just a minute. These were an Amazon deal. Got like, I don't know what they was. It was like 20 of them or something like that. And they're like the perfect size. They don't have a ton of bite to them. They're just enough to do the job. And they work amazing. So I use these things all the time. So they're well worth it. So next, while that's drying, which we can work on it still, because it allows us to do that. So we're going to put the cylinder heads on. So I'll tell you what, if you guys are cutting these or like trimming the plastic's very, very thin on these. I've actually scarfed that a little bit right there on the inside. I guess it was that one. See how it's got a nice divot right there? The blade just like, yep. Which is okay because the intake's going to cover it anyway, so it's not a big deal. But just something you guys are trimming these parts, you really got to watch it, because I was like, wow, I was pretty amazed. Took her like a champ. So they give you a piece on the back that you can trim. So these heads are pretty much, doesn't matter A or B, right or left. So the piece you trim, you can, if you work it right, you can put it to the back. So it's not really going to matter. So once I glue the heads on, I like to put the intake on right away. Okay guys, so we got the engine together. So we got the intake setting on there, the heads and the front cover. So at this point we can paint it. It's kind of weird how it assembles. See how the gap is underneath on the head? It's almost like the heads are too big for that, or it's a different design. First I was putting them on, I thought, huh, that just doesn't seem right. So now we've had some dry time, so this should be nice and clear. So at this point we're going to paint this assembly, and then we can dress up a little bit from there. We'll paint the transmission silver, that rear distributor black, and so on and so on. We got the fuel pump, we'll do that silver starter black, all that good stuff. And the oil filter housing, we'll do that in a different color as well. So like I said, I don't have Pontiac blue here, so we're going to try to substitute. So I think I'm going to take two colors. I'm going to take this MCW Seafoam Turquoise Metallic Enamel, which isn't quite the Pontiac color. So I'm going to take this and paint it with this first. This is Tester 1804. New can. I just opened this up. So what I'm going to do is paint this first, and then we're going to airbrush this on top of that. So we're basically going to give this a base coat, and I'll use this until the color looks pretty close. Because I know the Pontiac color has a lot of metallic in it, which this does as well. So that should work pretty good. I'm actually going to take this out and spray it, just because I just changed the diaper on the spray booth. And I know this will really cloud it up pretty fast. So I'm just going to take this outside the garage real quick, and I will come back, and then we're going to take it over to the paint booth, and we're going to shoot it. Other than that, we're going to get some more sub-assembly done on the frame. This can get painted. We can put this piece on. And I guess that's about it. So, I'll be right back. Okay guys, the answer for our trivia question, how many horses did this Tin Indian have? The answer is A, 352. Whoop, wait, that is incorrect. Haha, the correct answer is C, 366 horsepower. Okay guys, now back to the build. Okay, using the paint can was a horrible idea. That come out non-stop. Once I squeezed the trigger down, it didn't want to stop. So that went on a little heavier than I'd like to see. So I took a Q-tip in some of the spots that were a little thick, and you know, it's kind of blotted some of the areas where there's runnage, and let the Q-tip soak it up while it's still wet. It's kind of drying now. I thought, you know, of course it had to do that on something I'm giving away to somebody, just because that's how it goes. So we're going to paint this once it's dry. I'm going to let this cure overnight, and we'll come back to it. Like I say, it went on super heavy, and I thought, wow. Yeah, so that's what you get when you're using old stuff, you know. But I thought, you know, that'd look cool. So I think I might just toss the can, or I may just depressurize it, and I may just spray it into a bottle, and just go that route. That might be the way I go, and that way I can save it, because it is a cool color. But like I say, obviously the can is no good. So yeah, so that's that for right now. We're gonna let it dry, and we'll come back to it. So in the meantime, we are going to get this started. I'm going to glue this into place. So this goes on like so. And we are going to get the chassis painted. So I'm going to do this front half. This is going to be done in rubber black. So this here is rubber black. This is LP65. This is lacquer. And we're going to paint the rest of the chassis and everything in a flat black, which is Tamiya LP3 flat black. Also a lacquer paint. And once we get that going, we're going to use our MCW, the body color, which is our orange. And we're going to kind of give it a little bit of a mist underneath here. We're actually going to do the orange first under here and then add black, because it'll be harder to add, you know, orange on top of black versus just add black around the orange. So that's how the bottom is going to. So I'm going to basically paint from here forward flat once I get this done. But for orange, the only thing that really is going to get painted orange is going to be the bottom of the interior. So when you guys are painting your models, don't forget to paint the bottom of this guy. So we're going to do this in orange, this forward, and pretty much this back. And everything else, we're going to mix this in with the black, flat black. So we're going to get that going and see how she turns out.
Okay guys, time for trivia question number 2. How many years was the Pontiac Judge produced? Was it A, 1 year, B, 2 years, or C, for 3 years? Answer coming up shortly. Let's get back to the build.
Okay guys, back at it. So we got our exhaust painted up here. So we got 2 different colors here. So this is the side you're going to see once it's in the car. So we did the exhaust pipes itself. Those are done in, the exhaust pipes itself is done in Lynn Gray, and that is LP13. That's a Tamiya color. And then we did the axle and the drive shaft, and we also did the front cradle and the fan shroud, and we also did the fan shroud and the body, which when we get ready to paint this, we'll tape that off. And that is done in dark iron. That is LP54. So I think that's kind of a cool color like that. So we also did this back here. This is dark iron, so this is going to sit on top. We can get that glued in. I left this here because I want to do the mufflers in silver, and I'm going to paint the tips a different color as well. I may do those in silver, just give it a different look. I think that'll kind of tighten it up nice. So when I did this, I did not mask this off. I just took the airbrush just real lightly and just real carefully went around there. I'm sure it's blended a little bit, but not enough to where you're going to notice. So that'll look pretty good. And then we took some rubber black. So rubber black, this is LP65, and we did rubber black on our belts and the upper radiator hose. And also we did some work on the inner part of the chassis here. It's still a little wet. So these are usually plastic, so I always figured the rubber black was a good color for that versus just a flat black. And then of course we took our MCW, our orange color that's going to be on the body, and we did the bottom side of the car, and we did the bottom side of the interior tub as well. So we're going to put some black on this once this dries out, and we're going to let this cure for probably a good day. We are putting lacquer on top of enamel, which is typically a no-no, but as long as this is cured out really good, you can put lacquer on it. I usually don't suggest it, but it's like I say, as long as you know it's cure, you're usually pretty good. I haven't had a problem with it yet, but it's usually not the best practice, so I usually try to stay away from it. We also did the manifolds in the Lynn Gray, so to match the rest of the exhaust. And like I say, the engine you've seen is sitting over there, that's drying yet, so we're going to paint that another day when we get to this.
Okay, let's find out the answer for trivia question number 2. The Pontiac Judge was produced for how many years? If you guessed 3 years, you are correct. Between 1969 and some 300 models in 1971. Now, let's get back to the build.
So with that going, we're going to wrap this video up for part 2, I guess we can go at. And we'll get things going the next time around. So like I say, this is a pretty basic kit. At this point, it looks like a lot of it's just paint versus assembly, so it's not too big a deal from this point. Obviously, you can tell once this sets in there, that's going to start coming together really nice looking. And we get some black in there and some other color. That should look pretty sharp. I just sprayed this about an hour ago, and when you put hardener in it, it's actually, I mean, it's a tacky yet, but you could actually almost handle it, so it dries pretty quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint the gas tank. We'll do that in a silver. And like I say, we're going to paint the exhaust, the rest of the exhaust up. Get our alternator painted, and we can get the rest of the stuff together. We'll get our famous quadrajet carburetor together and get it all bolted down. So, alright guys, I appreciate you tuning into the video and following along. And we will see you guys on the next build. You guys have a good one, and thanks for watching.